Yeah. I was just reading a fortune cookie and it said that if you profile someone for the viewpoint of their art which you have made up on their behalf, then you are... Sorry. Then you are... Oh, then you're on something of a query path. Okay. Oh. Jeez. Be safe. Respect. Well, don't we all feel splendid this morning? Oh, that's ghastly. I'm having something of a midlife crisis in your terms. But I wanted to say, if you are a person who has made sexual recovery, I know that, and you feel your sexual recovery points to starlets in the porn industry, if a case is ever made against you that pornographic material has led you astray, sufficient that you misbehaved on account of the pornography, then subpoena for the request for the means to obtain empirical proof of the survey that was made in relation to the pornographic material, and then sue the agency, maybe in a team up with the whoever they're trying to fuck over. Because one thing I'm very much against is privacy rights being violated to the point where you're jacking off to a chick on the TV, but you've got this surveillance bugging to the point where coppers in your region, county, are watching you. And if this is something that you're dealing with during puberty, then these would be pedophilic cops. And the Eden story is why they might do it. Why they might not protest the inquiry. The loincloth is why they might endorse the suit. And odd bless America. Thank you for the Antichrist. Since there is no way for a policeman, you see, to make a case, a psychological case, they need to make certain statements about your sex. And so surveying you during masturbation can and will occur, and is evidenced by the failure to use tech when frisking in police stations. I'm a defender of the porn industry. I believe that they have the power to... I don't watch pornography in any routine way, but there are particular porn stars to whom I really owe a bow, because you can have places like churches destroy your sex, and you can have porn stars revive it, but you can have police trying to profile you, and if they want to get a proper read on your sex, and plus they're touching you your person when you're in their premises. It's very, very telling. Well, while there are cameras about there, um, it's very, very telling that they would use tech in an attempt to try to establish facts about your sex while watching you masturbate to pornography. Um, I would actually encourage the porn industry to, when they get sued for things, to countersue the surveyor, subpoena the surveyor in relation to consent to being surveyed by the person involved in the suit. I hope that's of some help. But anyway, on with the show. Hi. This recording concerns failure to acknowledge rights to life, health, movement, and expression in the event of a bisexual, and how it impacts interrelations with healthcare, policing, and the court system. Now, what you must remember, if you are one of us, is just the sense of your immediate presence is going to correlate once again to, you won't know where they are in their head in the narrative. I'll talk about pigs first. Now, pigs will not let you read anything in their premises except for the Bible, while knowing that there is such a thing as a Religious Discrimination Act. So they're forcing this book on everybody, while knowing it's absolutely marginalizing bisexuals, while knowing that they absolutely shouldn't be forcing it on anybody anyway, because of the Religious Discrimination Act. You do not have to be a bisexual to be legally offended by the Bible. It's sufficient that a police station will violate the Religious Discrimination Act if access to literature is limited and restricted only to the Bible. Now, remember what they've imposed on themselves. So what if we came from incest? So what if in the back of my head I'm dreaming of my mother, my mother, my auntie, my sister, my cousin? So what if that sort of thinking is how I think a perfect species was originally created? Well, that's one thing, but it's sustained in these Christians' minds only through endorsing the celebration of the abduction, with the claim that the person abducted themselves as an incarnated God. The abduction, and then held hostage, and then handed over, and then processed and a judgment pronounced in some way, and then an issue framed. You think of, I believe that there's a knot in their head where they go, well, like, we can't reconcile these four gospels, and we really wish we could. So who do we take that out on? And they would doubly so feel like it's your fault if you're bisexual in their custody. It'll just feel like, there's definitely something fucked that merits imprisonment about this person. And from that suspicion, they will go on to do things such as survey without consent. Some of the things that they can survey, and it's sad. it's sad for any cases that I think get made. I can't understand why any cases of a legal matter, of a legal kind, are ever made against anyone in the porn industry. But imagine policemen watching you watching porn, jacking off. This happens. This happens and is talked about much less than you would think. So, yeah. It also makes no sense given the presence of the existence of the level of tech that we have, that frisking even occurs to anyone. Uh, Equipment for scanning is available and has been developed, and such tech could be used to ensure. And it's quite a disgrace with this COVID alert. I mean, how do you know that you're not going to get COVID from a cop? Um, Dirty cops everywhere. And if you're bisexual, they're all dirty cops. By decree of their little fecal fucking Bible. So, they would like to frisk you, and in particular, in the back of their mind, where the loincloth on Jesus was, they would like to touch you in that region. It's the confusing part about the Jesus and the crucifix, that though it saves them, you gotta remember this dead guy on this cross saves them. And he's shamed by his crown of thorns, he's shamed by his nails, but he is not shamed by his loincloth. And all the way back to the story, which he's being said to be dying to redeem. The first two humans were said to have worn leaves to hide their shame. So there is absolutely no real reason. Actually, well, I've ventured reasons in other arguments, but for a Christian, it's a point of confusion. And what's the best way for them to take out that confusion? Touching your genitals while taking you into their custody. It's my belief this should be made to be stopped. It's also my belief that, especially during this virus alert, that it definitely should not be allowed, and that they use equipment. What are they saying by not using equipment? That they'll use tech to survey you at home. In fact, if you're a bisexual, one touch to the nuts region means surveyed when at home, so long as the piggers don't use tech. Or the pigger is against Christianity. Now, of course, if that were the case, they would let you read books on your phone. But that seems to be a big problem for them. Now moving on to healthcare. If a healthcare consultant or professional says they are an advocate and defendant of the Hippocratic Oath, believe in science, but are indifferent concerning the Christian religion, or are non-contestants towards the Christian religion, then they haven't taken and applied the principle, I say do no harm, to Jesus was crucified for no good reason. And because of that, a healthcare professional can come forward with, to their intuition, statements like, well, I think your pain is, you've got to drop your pain medicine. You gotta drop your pain medicine. Well, if you were a contestant of the crucifixion, in the event that Jesus were bisexual and you had a bisexual patient, then your ability to sense and gauge how much harm a person is enduring is going to be corked unless you're a contestant of it. So this isn't blackmail. I've thought very much about this discussion and been indicted for statements to that effect. However, the arguments remain consistent with my experience. To the extent that I'm prepared to say that, because just saying you believe in science, but being like a politician when it comes to the topic of religion and going, well, I won't go there. Well, you also don't seem to want to go around and look at bisexual health rights as a statistical report of health statistics within the community either. So it's like when you're in the company of a friend and they go, whoa, are you okay? I can tell something's wrong with you. The doctor would be blind to that and go, well, I think your pain is definitely well managed, but we should lower things and drop things, blah blah blah. When the reality is should be increase the medicine. Now, so then there's the courts. I already talked about this case scenario. Well, suppose a guilty businessman who is a pedophile makes an appearance in the courts, and he's there. The child who's pedophile is there, and the judge is there, and they all say, let's swear on the Bible. Now the question, who did Adam and Eve's kids have kids with, is probably how you got people like Rolf Harris. It's probably how you got people like Cardinal Pell. It pertains to embracing with love the idea that human perfection at the point of creation entailed that the children of Adam and Eve fucked each other to the point of reproduction. And then, as the narrative states, Adam and Eve give birth to Cain and Abel, 2 males. Cain murders Abel. So you've got a psychopath who murders his brother. And that only leaves Adam, Eve, and Cain. So the only person present with a uterus able to give birth to more babies would therefore be Eve, the mother of Cain. So I suppose any of you profilers out there are going to think, well, fair deal, he kills his brother, probably the type who would have babies with his mother. In any case, the story is sickening. And in my submission, a child who had been pedophilically mishandled, if they appeared in a court and had to touch the Bible knowing the story, but not having had the logical implications of the creation story explicated by the judge, can potentially be neurologically knotted into a state of terror and fear. So the kid touches the Bible, feels terrified. The businessman offender touches the Bible and gets a rush, a boost of confidence. And the judge sits back and watches. And just the oath swear involving the Bible would on its own be enough to stammer the testimony given by the victimized child in the trial hearing. A confidence rush to the offender to the point that they make their arguments more poignant and succinct, and then gain favor in the mind of the judge. And that's not even getting into the ramifications of the crucifixion, but that's where Bibles in courtrooms, I think, are absolutely fucked up. We leave it at that. Now, nextly, I have no idea what you wonderful folk out there think about how, given what we've already discussed, concerning merely just having Christianity so prevalent and present and severely present in how policing, healthcare, and courts. What do you get when you have a unifier trying it from all different angles with an eyeball at the top? The all-seeing eye of the Freemason Church. In my opinion, the only way that they could ever be unifiers would be to take upon themselves the attitude of the conqueror, which is the leaning towards Islam. Islamic leanings there. It's actually put. I've wondered if they own the Gideons, the ones that place Bibles in hotels, because they're only ever a particular type of interpretation of the New Testament. There's no mention of the Old Testament, so it can't be the Judaism. Though Bibles that small that contain both Old and New Testaments do indeed exist, pocket size. They can't really be Christian without the Old Testament there for Jesus to fulfill. And well, they can't really be Islamic either, given what I've wondered is because everyone is staying in hotels as a guest, they are numb to knowledge of the survey of whoever is in ownership of the land the hotel's on, or affiliations between the land right owners on which the hotel's on and the hotel executives itself, that maybe they have envisioned an experiment of sorts, and the experiment is that Gideon Bible. Because I suppose it's telling in a way that a person would open it, read it, and go, not be stumped by the question, well, to which religion does this book belong? And therefore, the fact that people delve into it, if they're checked, anyway, I'll leave that aside. But let's bear in mind that the agenda of these Freemasons involves a unifying initiative. Let's bring together Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Weave them together. Now, Do you think that an old grubby businessman and his partner would be more likely to be pedophilic and more likely not to get caught were he a Freemason? I mean, they're frustrated on not getting what they want, like the unification of the Adam and Eve story, and kids fucking kids united with this religion story of kids fucking kids united with this religion story of kids fucking kids. So there's a three-way struggling to unify there, and that's why I think Roger Toll should be awarded with a pedigree, like what you see on dog food. Pedigree, champion. I'm not. I mean, I don't think he's a champion, but pedigree.